bipartisan gun reform talks on the Senate side, Capitol Hill, in the wake of the shooting in Uvalde, Texas. Senator Pat Toomey, the Republican outgoing senator in Pennsylvania, one of the key senators involved in those negotiations. Nice to see you, Senator. Thank you for your time today.
Good morning, Bill.
A few things here. I see a quote about growing momentum. I saw what you said on CBS on Sunday. We're closer than we've been since I've been in the Senate. It's going back 12 years. I know you're optimistic. Will you produce something here?
Cautiously, Bill. This is a big challenge, and one thing I want to be clear about. Sometimes we lump all of these killings into one category when in fact they're very, very different in their nature. Some of these are gangs fighting each other over turf in their respective drug businesses. In other cases, of course, it's these horrific, sensationalized cases of a deranged young man who goes in and mows down innocent civilians. So these are very, very different circumstances. What I'm trying to do is see if we can have some common sense measures that make it less likely for dangerous criminals and the dangerously mentally ill to get firearms while protecting the constitutional Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens.
Okay, on that answer, give me.
It's a tough, narrow path, but I think.
Give me what you would consider common sense solutions.
Yeah. So for one, I've long believed that we could expand background checks to include all commercial sales. So sales at gun shows, sales that are advertised over the internet, sales that are in a sense commercial in nature, and the seller doesn't know the buyer. A background check makes sense. They can be done very quickly. Most firearm purchases do require background checks today. We could expand it to all commercial sales. I think that would make sense. I think making it a federal offense to engage in trafficking of guns, like knowingly purchasing guns for someone who is legally not permitted to buy a gun and handing it over to that person, that's illegal. That should be prosecuted. I think we could do more to make schools more secure. We could do things in the mental health space, and maybe we could encourage states to have red flag laws so that there would be a way to address someone who's about to go off the rails. These are the kinds of things that are under discussion.
Okay. If you expanded your criminal background checks, Sandy Hook could have still happened. Yeah. If you expand criminal background checks,
Bill,
what happened in Uvalde, Texas could still have happened.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, let me just, I'm sorry to interrupt, but let me be very clear. There's no panacea here. There is no one thing that will prevent mass killings. All we can hope for, in my view, is on the margins, make it more difficult for someone who's dangerously mentally ill or someone who's a violent criminal to buy a firearm, and hope that there's some kind of intervention in the meantime. A determined criminal is going to be able to eventually get a gun. I understand that. But that doesn't mean there's nothing we can do to make it harder for that person to get a gun.
Two things you mentioned. Encourage states to set up red flag laws. It's pretty popular in Florida. They're using it down there. Some other states as well. Improving school safety. I think you probably get some agreement on that. Senator Chris Murphy, the Democrat, he's part of these discussions also, said this over the weekend about keeping the president out of it.
I think the Senate needs to do this ourselves. I've talked to the White House every single day since these negotiations began, but right now the Senate needs to handle these negotiations.
Yeah, what he said last week was raise the age from 18 to 21. Do you believe by the end of this week, and it's kind of the time frame you've been given here to put up or shut up, for lack of a better phrase, that you'll be able to put something forward, Senator?
It's very hard to say, Bill. I doubt very much we'll have a vote by the end of the week, but it's possible that we would have a framework that could lead to specific legislation. That's still an ambitious timetable, but it's very hard to predict how quickly this will come together.
Okay, Senator, thank you for coming on. We'll stay in touch with you throughout the week, okay? Pat Toomey, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks.